My name is Sydney. I'm in second year of MOPA.
My name is Tanner Svanhard. I'm in first year MOPA.
My name is Logan McKenzie. I'm in my second year.
I'm in my fourth year at Kaplan University, and my name is Neil Hope.
My name is Victor.
I'm Oscar.
And I'm from Denmark. We're both studying at VIA, Film and Transmedia.
In the third year program.
So my name is Kate Henderson. I'm in year 4 of MOPA.
I would say a little bit scary because I was trying to figure out if I would be accepted. Here I go again, meeting a new bunch of people that don't know me before.
I was stoked. I think that everybody was on the same wavelength as me.
I felt really overwhelmed. But I remember talking to my dad, and I had a really hard time fitting in Calgary. And I remember him telling me that I was gonna find my people. So it was quite daunting in that way, I would say.
The first year of MOPA was a lot scarier than the first year of docs. There's a huge competitive sphere there. It feels like everyone's there to one-up you, and you gotta really prove a name for yourself.
I think anytime that there is creativity and competition in the same space, there's always going to be a bit of tension that will come through.
The culture is definitely competitive, but it's also very friendly. Once you get to know people, you'll realize that the competitiveness isn't them trying to put you down to get up, it's everyone trying to rise at once.
I've seen the culture shift in different ways. This year is more youthful, not innocent. The other years were more let's get it done kind of thing, and whatever happens with that, too bad.
People are like, well, it's just school, whatever. Which is actually kind of freeing, because then you don't stress yourself too much, because we tend to do that at home.
Yeah.
To describe it, I would say complicated. So for me, those were my friends, but they were also my coworkers. But I mean, they might have been a fling too, you know what I mean? There's the whole spectrum of relationships you have with these people that makes it so complicated.
MOPA encourages both collaboration and competition. Some students are a lot more competitive than others, and some students are there really just to collaborate and meet new people.
Competition, for sure. I do think MOPA mimics the industry because in a way, if we become successful in the current industry, then it's a successful program for people to go to because you're going to get work because you're going to fit into the mold that the industry holds right now.
The competition is not through MOPA itself, but through the individual. And the individuals feel like there's a competition, and they must be this and they must be that.
From our perspective, it's been very collaborative. And I maybe it's because people want to work with us, I don't know. It feels that way. We haven't really felt competitive.
No.
Felt like we've competed with people.
They encourage collaboration, but competition seems to come out of that, but I think that they work in tandem right now.
It feels like every time you screen a project to the class, you can feel the social pressures and creative judgment. It feels like that represents you more than you represent you, and people judge that more than anything.
Pretty much every assignment. Every time we watch them in the theater, I think that I have to do really well. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that the stress that I put myself under to make comparable project to what other people are making is good. It keeps me in check.
I'd say almost every time we pitch, every time we present, every kind of decision you make in the eyes of your classmates, there's kind of this edge, I think is how I would describe it. In these moments, you are proving yourself, you have something to offer. And that's really daunting and kind of scary.
Yeah, absolutely. It's complicated though, because I think that we think a lot about the film industry as a whole, and I think that within the film industry there are hierarchies, and we learn about that. So socially, there shouldn't be, but I think it just tends to happen.
Oh yeah. It's very cliquey.
Yeah, I do. And I think it goes back to the program being so surrounded around the current industry and the mold that poses. We're taught to be the most hireable people. Of course, if you have equipment and if you have connections, you have currency.
I do think there are hierarchies, but not necessarily in a bad way. I think the more social students who are there to meet connections end up being more social, and the people that are more technical maybe just stick to themselves a bit more.
tying my worth to my accomplishments, and I found that to be very problematic, because if I was like going to class and people would talk about films that they had done in their own time, you know, on top of all of the homework that they had done, kind of be like, oh, I'm not doing enough, and you know, maybe I'm not enough for this program. But now, kind of, you know, going through like my first summer break away from MOPA and kind of getting a chance to heal and grow from a lot of the things that had happened kind of last year personally for me, then I was able to actually get to a place where I'm probably like the most confident that I've been ever in my entire like 20 years of life. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with MOPA when it comes to confidence.
Leaving and going and working in the world is that I could see the transformation of how much this place has given me. So I get to appreciate it differently, because when I come back, it's like, what the hell? Like, it's so amazing. So I think it's really transformed my confidence. But you kind of have to sit in it for a while, right? It's not just going to happen.
I think as we just talked about, like doing more and having that mentality of I don't care if I fail right now, like saying, oh yeah, I actually tried something right there, and that worked. Gain confidence for sure.
For the most part, I would say 90% of the time, I feel comfortable giving my authentic self. You guys know, sometimes I outburst and I am like, yeah, motivate, yes, let's go. Because when I see all of you guys, I know all you guys can do it. Because what I see in Barbados and what they're achieving, I don't know, even know a quarter of what you guys know. I know you guys can do it like phenomenally.
Not really. You know, and I haven't always felt that way. Earlier in my degree, I didn't feel that way. And I'd say it was going into third year when I realized that I didn't feel safe being my authentic self. But I do it anyway. You know, I'd rather stay authentic to my own values and lose connections with people that don't align with those values anyways.
I don't think, well, you're always kind of nervous because it's new people and all that, but no, it kind of rolls off. We're heading home in a month, so I mean, whatever.
I do feel comfortable bringing authentic me into productions. I think it's a very artsy space and everybody brings a very creative and independent image. So there's not a lot of judgment coming when you bring a creative, independent image.
Getting to fail that much and getting to try some different stuff that might not be what you want to do forever, but it's nice to try it out.
Definitely in group projects, there'll be moments where some people are just having a great like creative spiel and you have nothing in that time and you just feel like you're falling behind and that person's getting all the credit and you know you can do better than that, but you're just struggling to put it out there.
Yeah, there's definitely been moments for sure. Mostly this year and at the beginning of last year, where I felt like I was kind of on a more positive arc for my growth. You know, at the beginning of the year when you're meeting all these new people and there's all these, you know, fun activities and everyone's, you know, just kind of getting to know each other, that can definitely make you kind of learn more about yourself that you wouldn't have had an opportunity to, you know, not being in the program.
They really encourage doing summer projects, and I think that really helped me grow. You know, that was a big part of my summer, was working on summer projects. In terms of shrinking, I don't think so. I think I just got overwhelmed, but that's a university thing.
People we might not think that we would have been like talking to back home. We really opened our mind.
Yeah.
About that and saying it's actually that's actually a very good friend, a very good person, even though so definitely learn about that. Yeah.
I would say I've found support in the community of people who also feel vulnerable. I've found community and comfort in knowing that I'm maybe not alone in how I feel.
My classmates are great. I have some pretty close friends and I talk to them a lot.
I think all the instructors are very supportive. They definitely are realistic and they tell you the truth. They don't sugarcoat anything. And I think that's the support that you need.
Over the years, it's turned into a friendship with so much of these instructors. I've cried in so many offices, fought with some of them. I swear at some of them. Well, one, that person, we got the most beautiful relationship in this school. You get more from this school from interacting with the instructors than with the students. because they know more, right? But it would be good to have a proper student place where we could, like a little club or something on campus that keeps the vibes going.
I would say I really feel in our early years we had a Professor Seuss who I think was really dedicated to building community. But otherwise, I think it is really student-led, and I think that the students absorb the tones and standards that are emitted by our faculty.
It's very student-led, I think. We expected more from the school, actually. And it's been... We're getting more social stuff now than we did in the start, because I think people are in their groups and kind of locked off. But now it's almost kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly student-led, the community. Like, my cohort became very close very fast and started hanging out outside of school, but I know other cohorts, not at all. So I don't think the school encourages it.
To me, it's so like varied. You know, I think of like a town, and I don't think that MOPA is like a town. Honestly, I think it's like a bubble, because in a community, I think you have very different, varied ideas, and I think that MOPA is kind of a very small collection of fairly like-minded people.
I think the MOPA community means a lot more personally to me, as in before you see people as their creations, but now you see them as your people and your peers, and you judge them on how they treat you rather than what art they've made.
I felt like the whole program I was friends with everyone when I first started, but now it's kind of complicated. There's the friendly and professional tone, but there's a lot of underlying, like a lack of trust in some ways that I don't feel the same.
I think that MOPA definitely feels very cutthroat at times. I think that when you're actually talking one-on-one with the instructors, it's a lovely experience. All of the instructors are very kind of well experienced in the industry. They're very good and very encouraging. The cutthroatness comes from the pressure of getting into kind of like the second semester when it's like, oh, only one person can be the director or the producer, and you have to pitch, and kind of becomes a bit of a popularity contest.
Yeah, I do think MOPA can feel cutthroat. It kind of comes back to the industry standard that is kind of the standard that is brought into MOPA.
I haven't felt that that people have been so competitive yet.
No.
Not at all.
Everybody doesn't have their voice at film school. They don't find it at film school. Even though you're quiet, you gotta find a way, I think, so that you are the person cutting his throat if you don't play like that.
It can feel cutthroat, definitely with the pressures of getting a job and succeeding in the industry. It feels like you have to be better than the person next to you. Mm. But I feel like that doesn't stand the test until you finish. Like, your classmates will always be there, also in the same boat, struggling.
Changing the culture at CAP is any MOPA program for me is a real tough one, because there's no community space after school. I think that's another reason why we can't really find a good solid way to change.
In the way that I've come to understand it, it feels like we run based off of a model of realism to the film industry. I feel like by fitting what already exists, you're now feeding into a system that's already quite discriminatory. And we also can acknowledge, I do think it's important, yeah, it's not butterflies and rainbows out there, it's nasty. But I think we can't settle for standards that alienate people. And inherently, I think that is sort of happening here.
I guess more social stuff from the beginning. That's to put it simply, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, one where you can communicate with your instructors about what work would be like outside of school. One where you can work with your friends on projects outside of school. I don't know, one where you feel comfortable going to classes.
I think a healthy, supportive film environment would look like one that is focused on collaboration, focused on the fact that as soon as we graduate from here, we are not just have the opportunity to be friends with the people we meet in film school, but also coworkers, colleagues, and that we can draw inspiration from not just each other's art and knowledge, but your experiences. What would it look like if instead of talking about each other, we talked to the person that we had an issue with, so that we could focus on what we're really here for, which is to make films?
I think it would look pretty similar to MOPA. I think it's a really good group of students who are all there for a purpose. They know why they're there. Not everyone, but a lot of people know why they're there and are working hard to get somewhere.
A healthy, supportive film school would look like, to me, I can be honest, Capilano University right now. Compared to all the other film schools, when I go on Reddit and I read like what these people get into, I was like, did you go to film school in a dumpster? Yeah, here has its issues and stuff, but I think the experience here is much different to the others. But it has a long way to go and it could be much better. I think after school community is really important for this. As I know they're trying to get us to learn a lot, but I feel like there's a different way that it could be handled that we could approach. We could have more community too.